now. And not just a product, and not just a company, and not just an opportunity, but really kind of a holistic program. I like to call this what I believe to be not just a financial empowerment program, but also a financial literacy program. Really help people understand what's going on with money, what's happening in the world, so that we can actually empower ourselves to do something about it and begin to get ahead, because we know the middle class is shrinking, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poor, and the middle class are getting squeezed out. And so tonight I'm going to share with you a holistic program that will help you turn some of your spending habits, convert them into savings habits, and then literally show you, if you so desire, how to get paid in both cash and gold for showing others to do exactly the same thing. What I want to do this evening, I'm going to begin with a 2-minute outtake, a video from a video series called The Hidden Secrets of Money, which was produced by a gentleman named Mike Maloney. And Mike's an incredibly intelligent man, has a gold and silver bullion trading business, and has made it his mission to really educate people about how the world economy works in very simplistic terms. I'm going to show you a video. It's 2 minutes from session 1. There are 5 parts. Each part is about 25 to 30 minutes. And my wife, Michaela, and I, we about a year ago, we sat down and we just watched one of each of those segments each night. So we had movie night for 5 nights until we watched all 5 of them. And when the whole thing was done, we kind of scratched. I said, okay, now a lot of things that didn't make sense before make sense. So if you're taking notes, please, I will highly encourage you to go search out thehidden-secrets-of-money.com and watch those high-definition videos. They're really exceptionally well done. But here's 2 minutes of it, give you a little flavor, but it'll help us frame up what we're about to do here this evening. Stand by, here we go. Let's try that again.
Your true wealth is your time and freedom. Money is just a tool for trading your time. It's a container to store your economic energy until you're ready to deploy it. But the whole world has been turned away from real money and has been fooled into using currency. A deceitful imposter that is silently stealing your 2 most valuable assets, your time and your freedom. Welcome to the rabbit hole. We are entering a period of financial crisis that is the greatest the world has ever known. The wealth transfer that will take place during this decade is the greatest wealth transfer in history. Wealth is never destroyed, it is merely transferred, and that means that on the opposite side of every crisis there is an opportunity. The great news is that all you have to do to turn this crisis into your great opportunity is to educate yourself. I believe that the best investment that you can make in your lifetime is your own education. Education on the history of money, education on finance, education on how the global economy works, education on how all of these guys, the central bankers, the stock market, how they can cheat you, how they can scam you. If you learn what is going on and how the financial world works, you can put yourself on the correct side of this wealth transfer. Winston Churchill once said that the further you look into the past, the further that you can see into the future. This program is all about creating your own crystal ball, being able to gaze into the future, being able to change this crisis, the greatest crisis in the history of mankind, into your great opportunity.
Well, what did you think of that? I love that video clip, and I love what Mike Maloney has to say there. In fact, I love everything he has to say in that clip. But he says, you know, if you want to take the greatest crisis in the history of mankind and turn it into your opportunity, the best investment that you can make in your lifetime is to get educated about how the world works. And so tonight, I want to begin with that. Really, just help you reframe the way you look at a couple of things and give you some kind of background and education on what's happening, where inflation is coming from, and then ultimately what we can do about it. So yeah, let's get educated. Remember, I want to take you back to grade school. Remember grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and we went to school and we learned the 3 R's. Remember, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Remember that? But my question is, okay, we learned the 3 R's, but who taught you about money? Who taught you about money? Now, I asked that question I asked that question here online, but I also ask it when we're doing a live presentation to a full audience. And you know, the response that comes back is, well, no one taught me about money. And occasionally you'll hear, well, my parents did. You know, the thing, and some of us are very fortunate. We had great money smart parents. The majority of us, our parents taught us what they knew, which was essentially the same as we now know. Very little about anything. So if that's true, where do we get our financial education today? Well, it's been my experience that we typically get it from the banks. We get it from the very institutions that handle and hold our money, put it into their accounts, rip us with fees, and have a vested interest in selling us their debt instruments. They sell us credit cards, they sell us RSP programs and 401k programs, they sell us our car loans, our mortgages. It's the institutions that are for-profit that have a vested interest in selling us their for-profit products, debt instruments, that are teaching us about money. And when we look at it through that framework, a lot of things begin to make sense, right? So let me ask you another question. When you think about most Canadians, most Americans in a very general sense, do you think they have a plan to get themselves out of debt and have the ability to retire in the next 3 to 5 years if they so desire? Let me ask you another question. Do you? And even if you do, how is that plan actually working for you? You see, I've asked that question thousands, tens of thousands of times, in fact. And the answer that comes back is usually something pretty similar to what you were just thinking. We all feel our paychecks shrinking. And I want to share with you why that is, why there's no shame in it, and what we can actually do about it. Because, you know, the numbers never, ever lie as long as we look at right and truthful numbers. The numbers will always tell us the truth. So let's look at some numbers here. Since the Great Depression in 1932, the dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power, while gold, the vehicle that once backed our currency, has soared by more than 4,300%. That's amazing, okay? Let's look at it like this. I took a snapshot of typical goods being purchased in a typical home in a typical week, and I tracked it over a number of years, you know, and over the course of this study, a loaf of bread has gone up 959%. Movie tickets have gone up 483%. Housing, I live in Vancouver, it's insane here. We're over 1,100% up. Postage stamps, small spend, but that's still an 800% increase. And milk has gone up by 257%. Now let me ask you this. Have you seen a 250 to 1,000% increase in the real wages that you can bring home in the past decade? I don't think so. And when I ask that question live, there's usually some people of average means and medium means and some wealthy people, and everybody in the audience agrees to one thing. Our dollars do not go as far as they once did. I want to show you what this looks like, because this is exactly the problem. The government tells us that inflation isn't really, well, the inflation rate in August was 1%. But you know what? It was 1% in July, too, and it was also 1% in June. You know, you add that up, that's 12%. Inflation is very real, and this is why we're finding it so difficult to create any real meaningful savings. We're living paycheck to paycheck. We're finding it difficult to get ourselves out of debt and really prepare for our futures because we can't get ahead of the inflation curve. And I want to make this very emphatic. Every study I have read and has seen has shown us that over the past decade, our incomes have actually been declining and stagnant when inflation adjusted. And yet inflation has been this massive curve. It is absolutely impossible to outrun exponential inflation on a declining linear income, and therein lies the problem. You see, most people think that inflation is an increase in the price of goods, but I would like to propose to you that inflation is not an increase in the price of goods. Inflation really is a decrease in the purchasing power of the dollars that we have because they keep printing more and more and more of them with no store of value behind them. And the easiest illustration to help us get our heads wrapped around this is, I just want to look at this. I know that 2,000 years ago, during, you know, when the Romans were building their empire, Jesus was walking around the earth, we know that the suit of the day was a robe. It was a toga. It was a toga, a sash, a handcrafted leather belt, and a pair of fine leather sandals. And I know that that suit in that day was the equivalent of 1 ounce of gold, 1 gold coin. 1960, you could have walked into any fine men's shop, and then the suit of the day was a jacket, a tie, a shirt, handcrafted leather belt, pair of pants, and a pair of leather shoes. And that suit in 1960 would have cost you exactly 1 gold coin. Now, you're on this call tonight. Do you have any idea what the price of gold is today? Well, let's just say it's between $1,150 and $1,200, okay? That's where it's typically been. Now, today you can walk into any fine men's shop. Let's say you're going to look for a nice suit, a nice tie, a nice shirt, a nice pair of slacks, a handcrafted leather belt, and a pair of leather shoes. What's that outfit going to cost you? Exactly. About $1,100 to $1,200. 1 ounce of gold. And I propose to you that the price of that suit has not changed in 2,000 years. It was an ounce of gold 2,000 years ago, an ounce of gold 60 years ago. It's an ounce of gold today. The only thing that has changed is the value of our paper dollars. It takes more of them to get the suit, it takes more of them to buy the gold, and it takes more of them to get the bread, the milk, the house, the stamp, and the movie tickets. It's the value of the dollars that are going down, but when you price goods in a stable store of value, real money, gold, the price hasn't changed at all. It just takes more of these lousy paper things to go and get them both. That's what inflation is. That's what a fiat currency is, in fact. A currency that is backed by nothing and is just printed like just going out of control. I want to look at it like this. If you had $100,000 worth of cash in 1932, today that cash would have a purchasing power of just $2,000. To make this really palatable, here's what this really means. It takes $100 today to buy what $2 would have got you back then. Or we can look at it like this. If you had that same $100,000 worth of cash in 1932 and used it to acquire gold and let that gold just sit and accumulate no interest, today the purchasing power of that cash would be $4,449,443. Since 1932, gold has outperformed cash by a staggering 4,300%. That's amazing. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. The gold has actually remained stable. It just takes more of these paper things to get them because, listen, we are playing the world's greatest game of Monopoly that's ever existed. We're playing with what's called a fiat currency. Fiat is a Latin term which literally means it shall be. It's money because someone said so. And a fiat currency is a currency that's not backed by gold, not backed by silver, or any other tangible asset. It's literally money printed from thin air with no store of value behind it. It's money because I said so. And that's exactly the problem we have today. They keep printing it and printing it and printing it and printing it. And the more of this stuff that they print without any store of value behind it, the less it becomes worth. This is a great quote from Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of the United States. And if we just simply understand one thing, that the United States was founded on a tax revolt. The founding fathers came to a new continent to create a brand new country to get away from the horrendous taxation policies of England at the time and the printing of money because they wanted to fund the expansion of the British Empire. And they said, this just doesn't work. Listen to this. Thomas Jefferson, if the American people will ever allow private banks and the corporations that grow up around them, they will deprive the people of their property until their children wake up homeless on the continent that their fathers conquered. And this really was a forewarning to future generations. They founded the country, the United States, with a brand new constitution, and they shut out private banks. Okay? Well, unfortunately, today we do have private banks, and I'm about to show that to you now. This is a great infographic, and it kind of illustrates the history of the U.S. dollar, and starting in 1913. Now, back about a decade ago, maybe 12 years ago now, I read a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island that literally changed my life in many ways. It changed the way I perceive a lot of things because it revealed the truth about how the Federal Reserve banking system was created. Jekyll Island, this is not a story of Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll Island is a real physical geographical location off the coast of Georgia where there was a very exclusive, still is in fact, private club where the then CEO and chairman of Citigroup, JP Morgan, Chase Manhattan, the Rothschild banking empire got together in this boardroom over a series of sessions over a series of years from 1910 to 1913 and created and crafted what would become the Federal Reserve banking system. And the first thing that I learned in that book is that the Federal Reserve, while most of us believe that it is a federal institution, it is not. It is a private bank headquartered in Puerto Rico, and you can just Google it. You can even go to the Federal Reserve website, and they'll tell you. It's just so preposterous that nobody would even bother. It's hiding right there in plain sight. Since 1913, the Federal Reserve, a private bank with a handful of private shareholders, has been creating global economic and U.S. monetary policy. There you go. There's part one. Look down this graphic in 1944, about middle of the screen here, and what we learn is that in 1944, Bretton Woods Accord was established. 1944, it's the end of World War II. The United States is emerging as the world's dominant economic power, world trade, and repairing the world. Trade is on the rise. And so a series of rules called the Bretton Woods Accord established the rules under which the U.S. dollar would become the world's reserve currency and all other currencies would be pegged to it in order to regulate trade. So, you know, if you wanted to trade with China or you wanted to trade with Italy, you didn't, I mean, as an individual, sure, when you travel there, you need some lira in your pocket, or you need some Chinese yuan, but from a trade perspective, it was all done in US dollars. In fact, it's still done in US dollars. When you hear about trade deficits, that's what they're talking about, excess currency in another nation. Okay. 44, Bretton Woods get established. Okay, and at that point, we have a gold-backed currency. 1971, the United States is coming out of a very costly conflict in Vietnam, both in human and economic terms, and the U.S. government, using their military apparatus, spent far more than they had. They went into deficit on this Vietnam War, and they couldn't pay their bills. Now, when you have a gold-backed currency, you cannot print more currency unless you have more new gold to back the new currency which is about to be created. That's called a gold peg, a gold standard. Well, the United States did not have more gold, so they could not print more currency. What was the solution? Well, easy. Let's just remove the gold standard. Let's remove the gold peg. And the minute they took out the gold peg, it enabled them to fire up the printing press so they could print more money and literally print their way into paying their debt. Unfortunately, this was not just a U.S. phenomenon, because under Bretton Woods, every other currency was pegged to the U.S. dollar. In fact, it still is. And when the U.S. removed the peg on the U.S. dollar, it removed the peg on every other currency, and every currency on the planet basically became a freely floating fiat currency with no store of value behind it, and gave permission to all nations now to start firing up their printing presses, printing more of this funny, unbacked money. And you can just look at this massive slide in perfect purchasing power because the dollars aren't worth anything. This is for our Canadian friends on the call tonight, this is a quote from William Lyon Mackenzie King, the Prime Minister of Canada in 1934. And 1934 was the year that the Bank of Canada opened its doors. And here's what William Lyon Mackenzie King had to say. He said, "The issuance of credit and currency is the state's most precious resource. Once a nation gives up control of its currency, it matters not who makes the laws, because usury, once in control, will wreak havoc on any nation." Now, he knew what he was talking about, and this too was basically a warning to future generations. The Bank of Canada was established in 1934 as the People's Bank. It was owned by Canada, owned by the people. And the purpose of the Bank of Canada was to issue and control our credit and currency so that it could then issue interest-free loans to the Canadian government and all of the provincial governments to build up the infrastructure to build an incredible nation. And it was loans from the Bank of Canada that paid for the Trans-Canada Highway, it paid for the national rail lines, it paid for all the schools and hospitals, and it was a beautiful thing because we owned our own money, we created our own money, and we were in total control of it. Okay, and so we could actually pay it back interest-free. 1974, Canada gets invited to the G8. And you know what the price of admission was? You must give up control of your credit and currency. You can still have the Bank of Canada, but any money that flows into the Bank of Canada must now flow in from the Bank of International Settlements, headquartered in Basel, Switzerland. You know what the Bank of International Settlements is? It's another private central bank. It's the one that controls all the other central banks, which are privately owned. And now all the money that flows into Canada is also debt money. and basically the blackmail that took place there was, okay, listen, you want to join the G8? You got to accept money. The money must flow in from BIS, and you must give up control of your own credit. If you do not join the G8 and follow these rules, you'll be blackballed from all future trade deals. So they basically put the noose around our neck, and since 1974, Canada has had a freely floating fiat currency, printing it like there's no end in sight. And this, from William Lyon Mackenzie King, was don't go there. Well, guess what? Just like the United States, we've gone there. This is a great graph that just shows us what's happened to our money supply. Okay, now this is a U.S. chart, and I'll show you a couple other charts in just a moment here. But if you understand the United States was created in 1776, I just want you to look at this red line, and I want you to imagine that horizon going off to the left all the way back to 1776, and I want you to follow around to between 2005 and 2010. Let's call that 2008. What was 2008? That's when we had the banking collapse, the housing collapse in the United States. It took 200 years, from 1776 to 2008, for the U.S. government to put $825 billion worth of currency into circulation. 2008, you have the housing bubble, you have the big mortgage crash, right? And that's when they started, first of all, the bank bailouts. Well, who got bailed out? The banks, JP Morgan, Citigroup, Chase Manhattan. Who owns them? The same guys that created the Federal Reserve. Who bailed them out? The Federal Reserve. How'd they do it? And I'm not even going to go there. Anyway, bank bailouts start. And then we heard about quantitative easing 1, QE1, QE2. We've already had QE3, and now they're talking about QE4, okay? From 2008 to 2010, it took 200 years to put 825 into circulation, and in the last 7 years, they've quadrupled this unbacked fiat currency. And this is exactly where our inflation is coming from. And they've printed so much of this. I do believe that we're going to enter a period of hyperinflation, and that's when prices begin doubling in a massive and rapid time frame. And it's not just the United States. Here's Canada's chart. China, India, Australia, Russia, Singapore. What I did not put up here was the European Central Bank, which controls the currency, because they're on the euro. Today it was announced, today it was announced that Draghi, the chairman of the European Central Bank, has indicated now that they're going to continue their quantitative easing all the way through 2020. They're going to continue inflating their dollars, the currency. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a global mess here. And if anybody tells you they know exactly what this is going to look like, run, because nobody knows what this is really going to look like, because never in the history of the world have we had economies that are so interlinked and currencies that are so interlinked, and none that have been printed in this kind of massive scale all simultaneously. We're heading over a cliff, and we got a disaster coming. The good news is there is some hope, and there is an answer to all of this, and I'll be sharing that with you here on this webinar. But this is a great quote. This is really quite profound. It's from Henry Ford, and if you just understand, now Henry Ford may not have invented the automobile, but he certainly invented the production line, mass production of automobiles, and automobiles for the people. And if you understand that the automotive industry is heavily reliant on automotive loans to sell their product, listen to this. Henry Ford. It is well enough that people of this nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there'd be a revolution before tomorrow morning. That is profound. All right. Do you know that the average fiat currency has a lifespan of just 27 years? There is not one single example in the history of the world of a fiat currency that has survived and lasted the test of time. In fact, when you begin counting them up, there's over 6,000 of them, and none of them have survived. Okay. The average fiat currency has lasted 27 years before it imploded itself. At this moment in time, Canadian fiat currency is 41 years old, and the American fiat currency is 44 years old. Now, here's the question that I must ask, that you must ask yourself. If we have demonstrated that we've lost 98% of our purchasing power, and we can actually see that we have outlived the average by 20 years, how much longer can this currency survive before it finally implodes the last 2% of purchasing power? I don't have the answer to that question, but my guts and a lot of people smarter than me all agree that it's just a matter of time before it goes boom. So that's what we're dealing with. But you know, if you want to turn a crisis into an opportunity, you need to understand the crisis, get educated, and that's what we're trying to do here. But you know, Voltaire said it like this. You know, he great author, playwright, philosopher, and he saw this happen in France with the franc many times. He said, paper money will always return to its intrinsic value, 0. So there you go. Now, this is Ray Dalio. I'm going to give you one more quote. We're just going to keep on moving here. Ray Dalio is arguably one of the wealthiest men in the United States. Now, you may not have heard of him, but he's a philosopher, incredibly intelligent intellectual. He's a philanthropist, incredibly generous with his billions. He also happens to be the CEO, president, and founder of Bridgewater and Associates, arguably one of the most successful hedge funds in the United States that has never lost money for itself or its clients. And here's what Ray Dalio has to say. He said, if you don't own any gold, I embellished the any, if you don't own gold, you simply don't know history. And if you take that together with what Winston Churchill said, he says, listen, the further you look into the past, the further you can see into the future. There is not one single fiat currency that survived the test of time. We have almost outlived our lifespan here, and I think it's time to start getting our hands on some gold. So let me ask you a question here. You're on this call, you probably live somewhere, you live in a home or a house or an apartment, right? Do you have some form of homeowner's insurance? Well, of course you do. And do you have some form of medical insurance? Of course you do. And if you're driving a car or motorcycle or some kind of vehicle, do you have some form of automotive insurance? Of course. Well, let me ask you this. What about money insurance? Do you have any of that? Oh, come on, Howard, what are you talking about? Well, money insurance, what is that? Well, let me show you. Money insurance. We're talking about gold. Yep, real money, honest money, God's money. God created it. You cannot print it. You cannot debase it. It's limited. It's finite. It has been money for 5,000 years, and in fact, it's still money today. When Alan Greenspan was chairman of the Federal Reserve, remember that private corporation? He said, oh, come on, gold is not money. He's retired, and he stepped down, and he was recently quoted as saying, gold is money. And somebody in the audience called him on it. Said, you always said when you were chairman of the Fed, that was a pretty good rhyme, you always said as chairman of the Fed that gold is not money, and now you reversed it. He says, well, because when I was chairman of the Fed, I could not say that in the presence of my puppet masters, but I'm telling you, gold is money. So, you know, basically, everything we read, everything we see, and everything we hear says, hold gold, get at least 20% of your portfolio into gold, and hedge yourself against inflation. But listen, there's a problem with it, right? First of all, I think we'd all agree, you know, it's typically sold by the ounce. And at $1,200, $1,300, $1,100 an ounce, it's simply unaffordable for most of us. We just don't have $1,200 in our pocket that we can just go peel off, get an ounce of gold, do that with any kind of frequency to create any real meaningful savings. We're intimidated by it. And even if that were not the problem for you, there's another one. It's inaccessible. Most people just don't know where do I get it? How do I find it? How do I acquire it? And once I've got it, what do I do with it? How do I keep it safe? And lastly, there's one more problem. It's difficult to use in its current format. I mean, listen, you can't just take an ounce of gold, take it down to the gas station or the grocery store, and give them an ounce of gold for your next loaf of bread and expect to get change in return. Our system just isn't geared for it. So while gold is money, it's a store of value, our economic system isn't geared to deal with it on a daily basis. So clearly gold is the answer, but we need to get it into a more usable format. And that's where I'd like to introduce you to this product called Karatbars from this company called Karatbars that has a holistic savings vehicle called Karatbars. And we're not even selling anything here. Really, the whole idea and what we propose is just set yourself up with a better savings vehicle. Karatbars International is a German company that has set up an e-commerce platform where people can begin to acquire gold by the gram in affordable units, 1, 2, and 5 gram units. And all we really suggest that you do is set yourself up with a free account. And just like you have a bank account, set yourself up with a gold savings account. And all we're going to do is exchange some of these declining paper notes and create savings. Instead of saving dollars, save in gold and hedge yourself against inflation and watch its value keep pace with inflation. So we get ourselves a gram, a gram, a gram, a gram, and begin saving gold in an affordable, transaction-friendly, non-intimidating format. And so if this was a live presentation, what I would do at this point is I would pull, in Canada, I'd pull out a $5 note, and in the United States, I'd pull out a $1 note. So let's use the US as an example. I'd pull out a $1 US note, and I'd hold it up to the audience, and I would just simply say, hey, is there anybody out there that can give me 4 quarters for this thing? And somebody always has 4 quarters, so yeah, sure, I could do that. So we see each other. I look at the 4 quarters. He looks at my dollar, and I give the $1, and that person gives me the 4 quarters. And then I look back out to the audience, and I simply ask, did I just buy something from this person? They all go, well, no. And did that person just buy something from me? And they go, no. Well, what just happened? And everybody says, you just exchanged it. Yeah, exactly. All I did was exchange paper for a metal form of money. And what this program is really all about is giving you a vehicle so that you can exchange these declining inflation-riddled dollars and exchange them into real money, gold, in an affordable format at a frequency of your choosing so you can start to create some real meaningful inflation-proof savings. And then when you need the currency back, when you're ready to tap into your savings, you exchange these Karatbars back into cash. And there's a couple different ways to do it. We got a program called K-Exchange. You can do it through the e-commerce platform, but there's also a tier of merchants, stores, retailers that will accept gold for payment and make cash, but they'll also convert your gold into cash as you need it, and that's part of their merchant agreement. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to muddy the waters here, but what's going on here at Karatbars is absolutely incredible. All right, so let me talk about it now. So Karatbars International, like I said, is a German company based in Stuttgart. It was founded in 2008 with one goal in mind: to make gold available and get it into the hands of the masses. They specialize in creating 99.9% pure currency-grade gold, which is refined by an LBMA certified refinery. The LBMA is the London Bullion Market Association, and they oversee the refineries. They're the ones that accredit the refineries that produce currency-grade gold, the gold that is used by central banks to settle debts amongst themselves. And Karatbars actually is one of the only consumer-level products that is LBMA certified gold bullion. It's a non-negotiable instrument, which means that you can carry these around, you can have them in your pocket, but they have the full value of gold by the ounce. And if you look at each one of these things, you'll find a serial number on it, you'll find a hologram on it, which basically means it can't be tampered with. There is what's called nanotechnology built into these cards so that you can validate them, they can't be tampered, and you always have authenticity of the value of this gold. And when I got my first one, I took it down. One of the things I haven't really talked about is I've been buying, my wife and I have been buying a lot of gold for the last decade. And really, as we could afford it, we get, you know, some ounces here, or we get 10 ounces, or we get 100-ounce bars. And so these bullion guys that I've been dealing with, they know who I am. I mean, I've made a lot of purchases there. When I got one of these things in my hand, I walked in one day and I said, listen, if I came in and I linked currency one day, would you give me cash for it? And the gentleman behind the counter, his name is Darren, looked at it, he says, I don't know, let me see it. He held it up to the light and did like this, like I'm doing now, and took it back behind the counter, put it under a microscope, went online, looked at something, I presumably to make a Google, I don't know what he was doing, but came back about 4.5 minutes later and basically said, yeah, I'd give you money for that. I said, how much? He said, whatever the market price of gold is today is what I'd exchange it for. And I went, bang. Now I know I got a winner, because he'd never seen one and instantly offered cash for it. So that's what this is. It's LBMA, coming from an LBMA accredited refinery, affordable, easy to use, and it's transaction friendly. And I'm going to show you why this is so important. Okay, if you had 1 gram of gold, now this is significant. If you had 1 gram of gold in 1971, just before they pulled the gold peg, the gold standard, 1 gram of gold would have bought you 5 loaves of bread. If you had $1 in 1971, at the same moment in time, that $1 would have got you 4 loaves of bread. And this actually makes sense, because the gold peg said that every US $1 note must represent 1/32 of an ounce of gold. And it takes 31 grams to make an ounce. And so you got a pretty even exchange here, okay? Because everything was pegged to gold. 1971, they pulled the gold standard, and we have this massive decline in purchasing power because they start printing more of these things. Today, if you have 1 gram of gold, it'll get you 20 loaves of bread. If you have $1, it won't even get you a full loaf. It'll get you a couple slices. And really what I'm trying to get across to you here is that it's gold, not this paper stuff that is real, sound, inflation-proof money. But there's another reason why I think that these Karatbars are going to become so valuable and so important in the days ahead. And as I've already indicated, we do have a substantial amount of gold. I mean, we've got some 100-ounce bars. We've got some 10-ounce bars. We've got a lot of 1-ounce coins. I have stopped accumulating those things. When I look at a couple of 10-ounce bars, in the days ahead, those 10-ounce bars are going to buy me my next car. The 100-ounce, that's my next house. All right. But the problem is, when we enter a period of hyperinflation, and I do believe we're going to enter a period of hyperinflation, and it's going to be sooner rather than later. And pretty much all the experts would agree with this, okay? The problem is, if all I've got, now this is an actual 1-ounce coin. This is a Canadian maple leaf. It's 1 ounce. Today it's about $1,200, maybe $11.57 or something like that, all right? If all I've got is these 1-ounce units, and I need some groceries or a tank of gas, I can't just cut off a quarter of this thing. I got to take the entire 1 ounce down to the bullion dealer. They'll give you whatever the cash value is today. But whatever I don't spend today, when we enter a period of hyperinflation and prices begin doubling first by the month, and then prices begin doubling by the week, and then doubling by the day, and then doubling by the hour, and if you think this cannot happen, just go Google hyperinflation and look at recent examples of where it's happened in Argentina, in Romania, in Croatia, in Russia right now. It's actually happening right in front of us. And it's coming to us soon because all of our economies are linked. If all I've got is these 1-ounce things, and I turn this into currency, whatever I don't spend today, I begin losing purchasing power the very second I don't spend it. The beautiful thing about this Karatbar is I have already demonstrated gold holds its value and hedges it against inflation. The beautiful thing about this little Karatbar, 1 gram units, and I'm going to get as many of these things as I can, and I want to encourage you to do the same thing. This gold unit, this 1 gram right here, that to me is a tank of gas 5 years ago. It's a tank of gas today, and it's a tank of gas 3 years from now. This right here is a basket of groceries 5 years ago. It's a basket of groceries today, and it's a basket of groceries 3 years from now. This is spendable gold holding its value, LBMA, accredited gold. You can convert it anywhere or back through the very same e-commerce platform for which you acquired it. This is the most brilliant thing that I've ever seen. I want to give you a quick savings comparison here. Let's just suppose, now I got to believe that everybody on this call here believes that saving money is a valuable and an important thing to do. So let's just look at this. $300 a month is pretty much, it's a doable thing for almost anybody. Could you set aside $300 a month, $65 a week? All right. So let's just say that for 20 years, 1995 to 2015, you set aside $300 a month. $300. At the end of 20 years, you would have set aside $72,000 worth of cash. Unfortunately, because of inflation, because they keep printing this stuff, your purchasing power today of that original $72,000 would only be $56,000, or a net loss of $16,000 worth of purchasing power. Let's look at it another way. What if you had taken that same $300 a month and put it into gold over the same 20 years? At the end of 20 years, you still would have set aside $72,000 worth of cash, except that cash would now be sitting in gold. Today, the purchasing power of that gold would be $236,000, or a net increase of $164,000 worth of purchasing power. Now, when you look at this, can you see the implications of this as it might relate to your retirement, your children's education program, or anything else that might be important to you? You know, I was talking with a lady, and she's saying, you know, I want to put my grandchildren through university. I'm going to put $10,000 into a fund for them. I said, great. You believe inflation is real? Yeah. What's that $10,000 going to be worth 15 years from now when your grandchild goes off to university? She says, I don't know. Would you agree it's going to be worth less? Yeah. What if you took that same $10,000, put it into gold? What would that gold be worth 10 years from now, 15 years from now? And both of us, I don't know, but would you agree it'll be worth more than that declining cash? Oh, yeah. So that's really the point here. We're talking about setting up a better savings vehicle. So now my question to you is, how would you rather save? I'll just let the graphics speak for itself. I know what my conclusion has been, and I hope that you are coming to a very similar conclusion yourself. I know how I'd rather save, and that's what I'd be going to do. At the end of the day, you know, this really is a pay yourself first savings program. And there's a great book I read a number of years ago. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon, written by George Clason. But you know, it's a great book, but the fundamental premise was, listen, you know how you become wealthy? The money that comes in, learn to live on 90% and put 10% aside. And that really is the end of it. And what we're really talking about here, and if you talk to any wealthy person, they'll tell you, you know, when you come into money, pay yourself first. Put some money into savings and spend the rest. And what we're talking about here at Karatbars is a better savings vehicle, helping you create a savings habit. So what if we could show you how to acquire pure, certified LBMA, currency grade gold, Karatbars gold, and acquire it through a system literally subsidized down to the point of zero instead of having to pay for it out of your own pocket, and then show you how to use that same system to generate an income so that not only can you begin to pay down your debts, accelerate your savings, but use those savings and that extra income that's coming in to actually begin acquiring more gold. Would that be an interesting thing? Well, that's exactly what this is all about. This combines a savings vehicle, and if that's all you want, go for it. But it actually creates, what we're creating here is an economic engine that will start creating cash flow, creating savings, putting the two together, and giving you incredible economic power. So let me ask you again, are you ready for some money insurance now? Because I hope by now you can actually see that what we're proposing here is that gold really is our protective shield against inflation. So what we talk about here is we've got a very simple three-step system. Now, we've called it for years, we call it a 12-week plan, but you know, for me, this is not a 12-week plan. This is a life plan. I will be a lifelong saver in gold because I can see how it's going to hedge us against inflation. And really all we're really talking about is creating a three-step system that helps create a savings habit, allowing you to accelerate your savings, eliminate your debts, and begin to inflation-proof your future, and literally show you how to change your spending habits into savings habits without destroying your current lifestyle or cash flow today. It's a beautiful thing. So let me show you how this very simple three-step system works, okay? Step number one, if anything we're talking about here, if you believe that gold is a good way to go, you know what? Get a referral link from whoever asked you to watch this webinar or a video or whoever introduced you to Karatbars. Get their referral link and set yourself up with a free gold savings account. Yep, I said free. It takes about 90 seconds, and you can set it up with nothing. And basically that gives you access to the entire platform from which you can begin acquiring and saving in gold. Real gold, not ETFs, not paper, real gold bullion, these things right here. Okay, step number 1, set up a free account. Step number 2, if you believe that saving money is a valuable thing to do, would you begin saving? Convert some of your declining paper and get yourself a gram. We say a gram a week, but you can do it whatever frequency, whatever amount makes sense to you, but would you begin saving and hedging yourself? So convert this declining paper and get yourself a gram a week, or a gram every 2 weeks, or whatever you can afford to do. But man, would you start now, because now you can actually afford it. And step number 3 is simply this. If you would like the idea, if you like the idea of creating some residual income, some referral income, all we're going to do is basically find 2 others to watch a video like this or a webinar who say, that makes sense to me. You just introduce it to them and let the systems do the work, and then find 2 who set up a gold savings account, and Karatbars will literally begin paying referral commissions for others that save. And our whole mantra really is we save money first, we get paid teaching others a better way to save. We save money first, we get paid showing people a better way to save. So how do you get paid here? Well, if you've done any research, maybe watched some videos or looked at the compensation plan that Karatbars has produced, you'll read that there are 7 ways to get paid, and it's absolutely true. There are 7 different income streams happening, and they're all happening simultaneously. But the way it really works is the last 4 are the net result. They're a combination of the first 3 being in place. So I just want to quickly go through how they actually operate. So there's direct commissions, package bonuses, and these things called team cycle bonuses. So here's how this works. Direct commissions. Let's suppose that you've watched this now and you say, okay, makes sense to me. I'd like to set up a gold savings account. So it takes about 90 seconds. You set yourself up with your account, and at the very same time, without you doing anything else, Karatbars instantly sets you up with what I like to call your personal referral box. Okay, now I want you to notice that you're outside the box, and Karatbars will pay you a commission on anybody that you refer and anybody that they refer on any purchase they make in a given month. So it's absolutely free. No purchase is necessary, even if you bought nothing. The minute you set up an account, they gave you the box. The minute you referred somebody to Karatbars, if they bought something and those referrals bought something, they'll pay you a commission every month based on the volume of business that takes place that month. And it pays between 0.5% and 6% based on the percentages increase as the volume of sales goes up. Now this is kind of predicated on this. If the whole idea is, okay, so you are outside the box, you can't earn a commission on your own sales, but you said, hey, Johnny, this is a good idea. I found a better way to save. And Johnny says, okay, great. Hey, Sarah, I found a better way to save. She says, great. So you found 2. And then using our systems, we help those 2 find 2. And then we help those 2 find 2. And then we help those 2 find 2. And then over time, your personal referral box just begins to fill up with other savers. And as they begin to save, and so these $60, remember, okay, gold, gram of gold, gram of gold, gram of gold. And at the end of the month, they calculate it all up, and a commission gets paid to you because of the referrals you've made. Now listen, I can tell you something here. I've bought a lot of gold over the years from my bullion dealer here in Vancouver, and I like these guys. I like them very much, and in fact, I've sent them a lot of referrals, and I can tell you, even though I've sent them a lot of referrals, and I know that they've done a lot of business based on those referrals, they have never given me a referral commission, and they have never even given me a discount on my gold. They've said thank you a few times. Here at Karatbars, even if you bought nothing, all you had was a free account, and you referred a few people, they'll still give you a referral commission based on the purchases that get made of those that you refer. That, to me, is astronomical. I don't know another company on the planet that will do that. This really is a pure affiliate marketing program. It's kind of like Amazon. You put a picture of their book on your website. If somebody buys the book because of your link, Amazon will give you a piece of it. Karatbars does exactly the same thing. I want to go back and say it again. We save money first. We earn money showing others a better way to save. We save money first. We earn money showing others a better way to save. And for me, this really has become what I believe is going to be my long-term pension plan, because I know the government is not going to be here when I need it. Now, there's a second part of the compensation plan, and this is called the dual team affiliate plan. To participate in the dual team affiliate plan, it's optional. Part 1, the direct commissions, everybody gets that. It's free. It comes with your free account. To play over here, you need to be an affiliate yourself. And there's two ways to be an affiliate. You can either buy one of these affiliate packages. It's a one-time spend. It's kind of like having a business license. Bronze, silver, gold, or VIP. The smaller one has a smaller price tag. The larger one has a larger price tag. But obviously the smaller package will pay a smaller commission. The bigger package will pay a larger commission. And you can either buy one of these things outright, or you can earn one of these things through the sale of what's called a 3D card. All right, so let's just go through and talk about how this works. Okay, now, dual team. The word dual means two. So a couple things I want you to get your head wrapped around here. We're going to build two teams, a left team and a right team, okay? And there's also two income streams. So two teams, two income streams. Two teams, two income streams. And it's going to pay direct commissions and what we call team cycle bonuses. And again, unlike network marketing and MLMs, where you have to qualify every month, there is no qualification. You've got a free account. You became an affiliate either through the 3D card program or by getting one of these affiliate packages. All you need to do is pick up a package. Whether you bought anything or not, Karatbars will pay what I'm about to show you simply by virtue of the fact that you are an affiliate. So let's just suppose you decided to buy one of these packages as opposed to earn one. The bronze package is 99 euros. The gold package is 580. The VIP is 1575. Okay, so this is, I kind of like it like your business license. And so a direct package bonus. So let's just suppose that you are an affiliate and you've introduced a couple of people who say, I'd like also to become an affiliate. Karatbars will pay you a direct package bonus for any new business partner that you refer who decides to become an affiliate. Let me have just a sip of water here real quick. Okay. The amount of earnings that you make is not a function of the package that the other person acquired. It is simply a function of what your affiliate status is, which is determined by the package that you acquired. So let me just show you how this goes now. If you're a bronze, it pays 5% of whatever new affiliate comes in. If you're a gold, it'll pay you 15. If you're a VIP, it pays 20. I looked at that and I said, well, wait a minute, 5%, 20%, that's a 400% increase. I think I go for this VIP package, which is exactly what I did. So let's just say that you now sponsor a new affiliate who decides to become by the VIP package. Here's how this works. If you were a bronze, you would have earned 5% of that transaction, or 78 euros. If you were a gold, you would have earned 15%, or 236. If you were a VIP, you would have earned 20% of that transaction because your earnings are determined by your affiliate status, not by the status that the new affiliate is becoming. Is that clear? So basically 5%, 10%, 15, or 20, your status determines how much you make. The second thing that happens is Karatbars will, in addition to that, by the way, I want to go back and just say here also that this money that gets paid out, this commission that gets paid out, it goes only to you. You don't share it with anybody. You're the sponsor. You're the referrer. This is a direct package bonus that goes to you and only you. You don't share it with anybody. Over here, this is what we call the cycle bonuses, and this rewards kind of team building activities. Now, the packages have the same price tags. It doesn't mean you have to buy them over again. And by the way, you do not need to requalify. You don't need to renew it. It's a one-time acquisition. That's it. And every product inside Karatbars has what's called units attached to it. So a bronze package will have 5 units, a silver 20, a VIP has 100. Every gram of gold has units, so 1 gram has one unit. 5 grams has 3 units. So what is a unit, you must ask? Well, a unit is nothing more than a representation of profit margin that gets shared back out to the field with you and me. Every product has a profit margin. Some have larger profit margins, some have smaller profit margins, and it's no different here. Different products have different profit margins. Units are a representation of the profit margin that will be shared with you and me. So here's how this one works. Every time products move, units get attached down either one of these left and right teams. So when products move down the left team, units go down the left team. When products move down the right team, units go down the right team. Every time you accumulate 75 of these units, Karatbars will pay you a cycle bonus. Again, the amount of your cycle bonus is dependent on your affiliate status. So if you're a bronze, it's 10 units, silver 40, gold 60, VIP 80. And I looked at that, it said 10 euros or 80 euros. Same amount of work, same everything. That's an 800% difference. For me, it just makes sense to just become a VIP. So here, let me just show you in real terms how this works, okay? So same thing, you've got your free account. you are an affiliate, and now Karatbars sets you up not only in the unilevel system where you have your personal referral box, but also over here. Now, this is how it kind of worked for me. I've seen this play out many, many times. I'm not going to make any income projections here, but I want to show you how units accumulate and how they pay. So I became a Karatbars affiliate July 30th, 2014. So just over a year ago, I took a look at this. And the first thing that I noticed, I went, okay, this just makes sense to me. This is everything I love about leverage and the whole idea of network marketing with everything I detest gone. There's no ongoing qualifications. There's no auto ships. There's none of this kind of nonsense. Just a referral just a referral commission for referrals that I make. So I joined. I became a VIP. And later that afternoon, same day that I became an affiliate, I went and talked to a good friend of mine named George, and I said, hey, George, you and I both love gold, and you and I would both love residual income. He said, yeah. What if I could show you how to not only get gold, but also pick up residual income showing others how to get gold? He says, you're kidding me. I said, nope. I showed him a video. He watched the video. He said, give me your link, and George signed up and became a VIP. And that because a VIP has 100 units, 100 units went down to my right side. Or, yeah, that's my left side, sorry. And so 100 units are sitting there. Now, every time you get 75, you get a cycle bonus. But the 75 can't be just from one side. The system is always looking for a combination of 50 and 25. So 50 from the left, 25 from the right, or 25 from the left and 50 from there. It doesn't matter. Either way. So I got 100 units just sitting there waiting for some units to show up on the other side. Well, about 3 or 4 days later, I talked to a good friend of mine named Bruce, and I said, Bruce, I know you love gold. He says, yeah. I know you love residual income. Yeah. What if I could show you how to get both? Okay, show me. So I showed him a video. Bruce takes a look at it. He says, give me your link, and that's exactly. Bruce signs up, and he says, okay, I can't afford the VIP, but I'll become a gold affiliate. Becomes a gold, buys a gold package, and all of a sudden 50 units show up. Well, now what happens is I've got a counterbalance, and all of a sudden I've got 2 cycles. 50 and 50 makes 100, 25 and 25 makes 50, 2 cycles. And because my affiliate status is VIP, that's 80 euros per cycle, and bang, instantly, there's 2 times 80, 160 euros. Well, there's one more thing going on. Remember, dual team, and I also get a direct package bonus. So when George bought his VIP package, I got 20% of it. And when Bruce bought his gold package, I got 20% of it, and instantly, 20% and 20% of both of those went in, and there was another 431 euros generated. And that's exactly how this works. Now, time goes on, and a lady named Martine shows up underneath Bruce. I don't know. I really have no idea where she came from. But then George and I have a conversation with a lady named Julie, and Julie says, makes sense to me. She becomes a gold. I love gold. I want to save gold. I want to share this with others. She becomes a VIP. 100 units get triggered. And between George and Julie and me, we have some conversations, and a bunch of people show up. Well, we add them all up, and there's 570 units sitting over there. But Bruce hasn't done a whole lot yet, so there's no units over on the other side. Well, about a month or so goes by, and I'm in Toronto doing my regular work, and one morning I just noticed that 4 people had shown up and 300 units show up over on the other side. Well, Karatbars instantly calculates that, and they go 570 divided by 50, 300 divided by 25, and all of a sudden 11 cycles get generated. And while I'm really doing my regular career, 11 cycles, or 11 times 80, and 880 euros generate. And that's how this thing goes. All right, now you can see as soon as those units convert into cash for me, they disappear from me, but they're still sitting there for whoever has not realized them yet. All right, so now one afternoon, a friend of mine named Vince calls me up, and he says, what have you been up to? And I said, well, I tell you what, I'm still, I'm still riding my motorcycle. I still got my speaking and training business, but I started a gold project. He said, gold? I said, yeah, gold. He says, well, what's it all about? And I said, instead of me trying to explain it, I'm going to send you a link. Go watch the video and tell me what you think. Well, that afternoon, Vince signs up and buys himself a VIP package. A couple of days later, he introduces a guy named Renardo, who becomes a gold member, and then a bunch of others show up. Now, here's what happened. All those units are still sitting down George's left leg, and now there's a bunch of units down George's right leg. Well, 2 or 3 months go by, and George picks up the phone. He calls me up, and he says, Howard, I just checked my my Karatbars account, and there's 3,500 euros in there. Where did they come from? And I just said, well, George, I knew sooner or later you'd figure this out. I had a couple conversations, and you had some cycle bonuses. You had a payday. And he went, well, honestly, if I can start making money like that, you've got my attention. And so George and I hooked up, probably about April, and we started making conversations, and we just kind of danced together. We're having a lot of fun with this. It's a part-time venture for both of us, but we're having a lot of fun saving gold, making money, and helping people get themselves whole. And that's really what this is all about. And the point is, both of these systems operating together, the free personal referral box plus this dual team thing if you choose to become an affiliate, and it pays cash and gold every single week. You get issued with a Karatbars prepaid MasterCard, and all of your commissions in euros get deposited there every Friday. And in addition to all of that, every time you trigger certain increments in commissions, so 200 or 1,000 or 2,500 euros, they also send you grams of gold. So not only am I acquiring gold every week, but the system is actually producing gold every week. Cash and gold produced by a system. And now with my prepaid MasterCard, I actually buy the gold that I buy using commissions that I've earned. I haven't paid for a gram of gold in over a year. And what I love about this the most is that unlike MLM and traditional network marketing where you got to buy a bunch of stuff in inventory, there's no spending, no storing, no inventory, no selling, just people saving money and hedging themselves against inflation. And you know what the beautiful thing is? To do this business, you don't need to be a gold salesperson. You don't need to be a perfect presenter. You don't need to be a spectacular speaker. If you can learn, and we'll teach you how to be an incredible inviter and just simply invite people to watch videos and come to webinars and maybe some live events, let the event, let the video, let the webinar do the work. If you can learn to invite, you can learn to do this business. And just a couple of closing comments here about Karatbars as a company. The company was founded in 2008 by a gentleman named Harold Zeitz. Harold Zeitz is a multi-millionaire many, many times over, made his money in precious metals and insurance and investments, and just recognized that the wealthiest of his clients were all in precious metals. They all had vaulted gold programs, and that he also noticed that the middle class in Europe was getting wiped out just like it is here in North America. And he said, you know, there's got to be a way to make people that can't afford gold begin to afford gold. That's where the wealthy have their cash. And set out to create a company that would make gold affordable and available to the masses, to you and me. In 2008, he took a 35 million euro, that's $50 million out of his own pocket, posted a bond with the German government to establish this e-commerce company that would be enabled to trade in gold bullion. Today they operate under the world trade rules for bullion trading. And from 2008 to 2011, basically those 5 years, created the infrastructure of the company, all paid for and facilitated by him. 2011, company opened its doors. In the first year, did 2.2 million in sales. Year 2, quadrupled it to 8.5. Year 3, quadrupled once again to just over 30 million. Today, we are more than halfway through the year, and at the halfway mark, at the end of June, we're at about 75 million. It is widely projected that it will be in excess of $150 million, 150 million euros, mind you, by the end of the year. And it is projected that by the end of 2016, this will be $1 billion company. Today, we currently have about 360,000 affiliates, and we believe that by the end of 2015, it'll be over 1 million. Now, this is not about 1 million people for the sake of 1 million. That's not what this is about. Every person that's in this, it's about setting 1 million people free, getting them off a system of debt. Now, I had the opportunity to meet Harold, Mr. Zeitz, in Germany. I met him in Vegas in November at our conference. I met him also in Germany in June. And at the end of our sit-down, our meeting, I just said, Mr. Zeitz, thank you so much for putting this company together. And he just looked at me and said, well, you're welcome. He said, but I want you to know something. He said, I don't do this for me. I'm very well taken care of. I do this for you and all the people that we haven't met yet, because it's my goal that with this company, we're going to help millions of people find financial freedom and get themselves off the current system of debt and into financial wholeness. And, you know, when you meet somebody and you hear the words that they speak, you know whether they're telling the truth or whether it's just I'm telling you, this guy was so sincere and so genuine, and that's what the heart and the mission of this company is, to get people into a place of financial wholeness. So, listen, just in conclusion, I just want to say a couple of things here. If anything that we shared here tonight resonates with you, that you think saving money is important, oh man, would you just get the referral link and set yourself up with a free account, no obligation to do anything else. It'll give you access to the entire platform. You'll be able to look at how the whole thing operates, all the documents, everything that a full affiliate has, you'll have access to it. Pick up a free account. And if you believe that saving money is an important thing to do, and if you believe that gold is a phenomenal way to hedge yourself against inflation and hold value, then man, would you start saving a gram a week? Just create a regular savings routine. Start it. And if you want some of this residual income we talked about, find 2 and then repeat. Find 2 and then repeat. And we'll help you do that. We have systems. I've spent the last 30 years of my life figuring out how to take complicated things and simplify them. We'll help you do this, and it would be our honor and our privilege to come and welcome you to the team here. So again, if anything we shared tonight makes sense to you, I just welcome you. I open my arms. I ask you to come and join us, because at the end of the day, what we're really trying to do here is create a debt-free, financially secure society, beginning with you and then ultimately with me. So that's what I've got for you tonight. My name is Howard Olson. If you look in the top corner of your screen, there is a button that says Q&A or question and answer. I mean, if you are on this call tonight and you have some questions that you'd like answered, feel free to just type it into the box. I'm not going to open up all the microphones because it could create some background noise. But if you have a question, feel free to just, you know, type it into the box, and I will answer it live here for everybody. All right, is that fair? So, you know, we can all learn. You might have a question and that somebody else is thinking. So just go ahead and, yeah, just go ahead. If you have a question, go ahead and ask it, and I'll do my best to answer it for you. Well, let's see. Okay, no questions yet. Let's see what happens. Anybody else? Come on, now's your chance. If you're thinking it, maybe somebody else is thinking it, so we can all learn from each other. Any questions out there? I'll just let this sit for a moment or two and see where this all goes. No? Oh, there we go. Can you post this on Facebook? You mean the video? Okay, so the question is, will I post this on Facebook? Well, I am recording tonight's call, and yeah, yes, your presentation. You mean this presentation? Will I post this presentation on Facebook? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, okay, yeah, no problem. It's gonna take, it'll probably take about 4 hours to render. Rendering is when video leaves its raw form and becomes something that everybody can look at. So yeah, I can put a link. I'm gonna do one better. I'm actually gonna post it at savecashandgold.com/VGR. In fact, hang on, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna type it out so you can see it. By tomorrow, it'll be at savecashandgold.com/VGR, virtual gold reception. So yeah, you'll be able to find it there. We got a couple of other questions. Let's see here. No question, a big thank you. Well, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Let's just see what else comes now. Any other nice comments? I see my friend Dorothy Garriott's online. Welcome to the call. Good to have you with us tonight. Yeah. Any other questions? Let's see. Maybe something's going on here. Dorian asked. Okay, gotta run. Cheers. Cheers. All right, well, that's it. Thank you very much. I think we have no other questions, just some great comments. Thank you for joining me on this Thursday night. Come and join us on this quest, not only to get yourself financially free, but to get those you care about financially free. That's it for me. I'm Howard Olson. Olson, out.